世界のみんなとつながろう Bridges across world communities.
Hello everyone and welcome to Bridges Across World Communities, sponsored by NIA, the Nishinomiya City International Association. My name is Floyd.
And my name is Thelma. Each month we provide practical knowledge for daily living and important information about disaster prevention.
This program is for English-speaking residents in the Nishinomiya area and is broadcast on the second and fourth Saturday of each month from 12 noon to 12:15.
This month we'll be talking about how to enjoy shinmai or newly harvested rice.
And we have the second half of our interview with Mr. Morris Derry, originally from Malaysia and currently living in Nishinomiya.
提供は西宮市国際交流協会です。
Hello, Thelma.
Hello, Floyd.
It's now harvest season in Japan and the best time of year to enjoy various types of fresh fruits and vegetables.
Exactly. Now, recently, I've been seeing signs at the supermarket advertising shinmai, which means newly harvested rice. What exactly do they mean by new rice?
Well, besides this being the season for harvesting fruits and vegetables in Japan, this is also the season for harvesting rice. And according to the Japan Agricultural Standards, rice grains that are harvested, cleaned, and polished by mills and packaged by the end of this year can be labeled as shinmai or new rice.
Oh, is new rice any different from old rice?
You know, I'm not a rice connoisseur, but I'm told that when new rice is cooked properly, it's more moist, more soft, more shiny, has an exquisite fragrance, and tastes much better than old rice.
I see. So it makes me hungry just talking about it.
Yeah, me too. You know, I was curious about shinmai, so I did a little research on the best ways to choose, cook, and store new rice. You might want to get a pen so you can write this down.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, good. Now, when you buy rice, check the grain polishing date printed on the package and go for the newest date. Don't buy more than you can use in a month, and if you can, check that the grains are well-shaped and without damage.
Oh, I might need a stronger pair of glasses or a microscope to check those grains of rice.
Yeah, I know, it's a little obsessive.
Yeah.
Anyway, so also, you should keep your rice in an airtight container in a cool, dark, and dry location. The vegetable section of your fridge is a really good place.
Yeah, okay. Now, what's the secret to cooking rice the Japanese way?
Well, first you need to gently wash the rice, and you have to be careful not to rub the grains too hard against each other or against the sides of the bowl.
Oh, so we should handle the rice as gently as a newborn baby, right?
Exactly. Now, what you should do is repeat washing and rinsing the rice until the water isn't cloudy.
Okay, so step 1 is to gently wash the rice, and what's the step 2?
Step 2 is soaking the grains. Now, you need to soak the grains in water to help make the rice more sticky, soft, and full when cooked. In summer, you should soak the rice for about 30 to 60 minutes before cooking, while in cooler, less humid times of year, you may need to soak the rice for 1 to 2 hours.
Wow, really? That's good to know, Floyd. And I usually soak my rice for only about 30 minutes. And what's next?
The next step is cooking the rice.
Well, it's about time.
Yeah. Now, when the rice cooker lets you know it's finished cooking, you should open the lid and stir the rice from bottom to top to loosen it. This allows the moisture at the bottom to evaporate and will give you that nice, shiny-looking rice. Now, if you don't do this, the rice will begin to harden and turn yellow. Also, remember to wipe the inner lid quickly so the water on it won't fall back into the rice.
Well, it all seems pretty easy, but I have a question.
Yeah, what's that?
After cooking the rice, how long can I keep it warm in the rice cooker? Half a day or the whole day?
No. 1 hour at the most.
Really?
Yeah. If you keep it in longer, the taste starts to go bad and bacteria might start to grow.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah. You should never cook rice for breakfast and keep the leftovers warm until dinner time.
Okay, so what should I do with the leftover then?
Well, as soon as the meal is over, wrap the remaining rice or put it in a sealed container and keep it in the freezer. You can always warm it up later in the microwave and the freshly cooked rice flavor will return.
Okay, that's a good tip, right? By the way, is shinmai rice more expensive than the regular rice?
No, that's a good question, but no. Generally, the price for shinmai or new rice is around 2,000 yen for a 5-kilogram bag. Now, some brands are more expensive than others and some are less. It's just like regular rice. And also, if you want to look for local brands of rice, such as kinuhikari and koshihikari that are harvested in the northern part of Nishinomiya, Yamaguchi, and Funasaka.
Well, it's now harvest season in Japan, and the best time of year to enjoy our locally produced fruits, vegetables, and especially shinmai. Happy eating!
And we're back with our guest this month, Mr. Morris Derry from Malaysia. Thank you for joining us again.
Yes, hello.
Now, we had to cut off our interview kind of in the middle of something last month, and that was we were talking about the PhD program that you're involved with at OSIP. And first of all, what's OSIP again?
So OSIP stands for the Osaka School of International Public Policy, which is a small graduate school at Osaka University.
And the PhD program you're involved with?
The PhD program is called the International Public Policy.
And specifically, what are you doing?
My area of research is in criminology. Yes.
Okay, and I guess and victimization and...
Yes, specifically victimology. So I'm studying the effects of crimes on victims of crimes.
And this is Japanese victims or international victims?
So my research is a comparison between the process of seeking justice for victims in Japan and my country, which is Malaysia.
Now, I understand there are a lot of crimes against older people, like people calling them up and asking for money, saying they're a relative, in trouble. Do you ever deal with any of that in your program or cover that kind of thing?
So that's basically the meat of my research. I'm comparing what exactly do these victims in Japan, like the crime itself is called oreresagi in Japan. So basically what happened is that scammers would approach elderly citizens that they think have a lot of money, and they pretend to be a relative who's in trouble, and to get out of the trouble, they ask for a lot of money and then put this elderly citizen in a state of panic. So in a panic, this elderly citizen would surrender her cash, and then that's how the scam happens.
Yeah, I think there's kind of an understanding that the only people who have a lot of money these days are the elderly people. And I think that's So now you also mentioned that after this you're going to be going to England to do more studies on a master program. But let's back up a little bit. And as you mentioned in some of these things I've been reading here, that you found that Japan has its fair share of weirdness. What did you mean by that?
Well, there are a lot of really interesting things that you can find in Japan wherever you go. Like, for example, can't think of any out of my head right now, but... I'm sorry.
Well, how about...
Let's start with the food.
The food, that's...
Okay. You find it weird?
Okay, so food. Interesting thing. I enjoy eating exotic food, so I go out of my way to try something new. And one of the things that I had, I think, last year was was horse sashimi. They call it dasashi.
Yes.
And I thought it looked really interesting, so my sensei, who was with me at the time, warned me that you probably will not like this. But I took a really huge portion of it and tried it. And
how was that?
It was really weird. I couldn't swallow it because it was just raw.
Oh, I mean, it wasn't a cooked horse meat then?
Yeah, it's raw, sashimi.
Thing.
Is this what they call sakura restaurants, I think, David? You just see that. I think one of the strangest things, actually I wouldn't call it so strange, but for a Westerner, was I went to a whale restaurant in Osaka and had whale. I thought it was pretty good, but I felt guilty about eating it.
Yeah, I had like what we call inago.
That's eel, isn't it?
Inago is like, what do you call it? Locust.
Where, in Japan?
Yes. And also hachinoko.
I don't know that.
Like babies of larvae of bees, bee larvae.
Yeah.
I didn't know they served that in Japan.
There are.
Oh.
And then a couple of months ago, I had what we call kamenote. So it's a type of barnacles that you find.
I have had those. Yes. Yeah.
And it looks like it literally means the feet of turtles, because it does look like the feet of turtles.
Well, it sounds like a lot of adventures for eating here. Anyway, I'm sure Malaysia had. If I was to go to Malaysia, it'd be pretty adventurous. Some of the foods. There. For a Westerner, what do you think would be one of the strangest foods in Malaysia?
That would be what we call, the larvae of a beetle.
Okay.
What you call kabutomushi.
Oh God, those are huge.
Yes.
Those larvae.
And the larvae itself is also huge, and you would eat it raw and alive.
Wow.
And it's a delicacy. I've never had it before. I never had the chance to try it because it's kind of difficult to source now.
Yes.
They're not in danger of extinction or whatever. It's just that because society has moved on from that kind of tradition, I think.
I think in Japan, it's one of the favorite foods of the inoshishi.
Inoshishi.
Now, how about any difficulties moving here, or any like culture shock things that happened?
Society thing, like people around.
Oh, culture shock. A lot of them. Some good, some bad.
Like
One of my favorites is like, what I like about the elderly citizens in Japan is that when you go to a park, for example, in the morning, and I don't know if it's like a Kansai thing or is it like a regional thing, but when I was in Osaka, if I go to a park in the morning, then the elderly ladies would surround me and they would try to talk to me, even though they know that I don't speak Japanese, and they try to gossip about what happened in the neighborhood.
Wow.
They're very friendly in that way, and I really like that. And it makes me feel like I'm part of the community in some way, even though I don't necessarily follow what is being discussed. But they make me feel included in some ways, and I like that.
Now, I also saw mentioned here that you said you felt very peaceful in Japan, or peaceful and quiet, and you could think. I was kind of surprised. I mean, you're living in Osaka, which is huge city.
Well, the kind of peace that I'm talking about is something that I never knew existed, in the sense that when I was in Osaka, I wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning, and all I heard were the sounds of birds or the traffic lights. You know how the traffic lights sometimes, the sound of the traffic lights, like it will be the sounds of birds, And I thought it was birds, but apparently it's the traffic light to help people with vision.
Knowing when to cross. And stuff.
And other than that, it would be, those little cars with the blaring horns with political messages. And I started to hear, I was beginning to be able to isolate those noises. Because in Malaysia, all of the background noises were like coming together at the same time.
But you were in a relatively small city in Malaysia. And you're saying even there was much noisier than Osaka.
It's noisy because our people tend to be very noisy. We like to party. For example, in Japan, like, it's unthinkable for you to have a home party without, bothering the neighbor. But in Malaysia, we do very loud karaoke on the weekends. And the neighbors would be like, okay, we're going to let this one go. Next time we'll do it, and they will have to let us go too. That's the kind of understanding we have in Malaysia. You don't call the cops on each other.
Sounds very loose and sounds like very kind of exciting in a way.
I would say yes. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
Well, I want to go to Malaysia. I want to go to Kuching.
Kuching. It literally means cat. I think, Thelma, you're from the Philippines.
Yes.
Is it the same? Yes.
Kuching.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and it's been really interesting talking
You're
about
welcome.
Malaysia.
Thank you for having me.
Your experience.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Bosai Joho desu.
Today, we'd like to introduce you to disaster preparation bottles. And this is an idea that became a popular Twitter topic back in April with more than 50,000 likes.
Disasters can strike anywhere and at any time, so it's important to be prepared. When you're outside your home, why not use a 500 ml water bottle as a disaster preparedness bottle to store things that you might need in an emergency?
Now, they don't take up much space, so you can always have them with you in your bag or backpack as an easy way to increase your level of disaster preparedness.
The bottle might include things like a whistle, a compression towel, sickness bags, or small flashlights, plastic bags, commonly used medicine, band-aids, alcohol wipes, and money, of course.
Yeah, of course, need money. Now, of course, you can decide to put anything in the bottle you think you might need.
Now, to find out, check out the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department official disaster preparedness Twitter account at capital MPD_Bosai.
For consultation services and any other inquiries, please contact NIA at 0798 328680 or send an email to nia@nishi.or.jp. We'd love to hear from you.
And please continue to be careful and stay safe.
提供は西宮市国際交流協会でした。
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye bye.
Keep safe.